Well, it finally happened. Batman Arkham Knight is a video game. And in Arkham Knight, you play as Batman. And as Batman, you run around being all Batman-y, and occasionally you'll blow some shit up in your Batman car that turns into a Batman tank. Hang on, can we start again? We'll start again. Batman Arkham Knight is a video game where you play as Bat-Tank. And as Bat-Tank, you run around being all tanky, and occasionally you'll beat some dudes up as Batman. Yeah, that's more accurate. Making a fourth game in a successful franchise isn't the easiest thing, I would imagine. You've had 3 successful games up to this point, the third one a little bit less successful than the first 2, mainly because it was exactly the same as the game before it. So what do? You can't just make another one of those, you gotta do something different, you gotta mix it up. But you've also got to keep true to the essence of the first 3 games. Somehow, Rocksteady have done it. Not only have they made Batman fun and exciting again, they've made the best Arkham game since the first one. Full disclosure, of course, I wasn't a huge fan of the last 2 games. I know a lot of people say that City is the best Batman game, and those people have every right to believe that, but they're wrong. To me, City was boring, and to me it took away everything that made Asylum the classic that it is. The open world stopped it from being a Metroidvania type game. I hate saying that word, but I say Metroidvania and you know what that means. And it turned into Batman GTA, and that is not what I wanted from an Asylum sequel, ever. To be fair though, they couldn't just make another one of those. They had to do something different, and that's what they chose to do. I don't know what I would have done different, but probably not that. Thanks to the inclusion of the Batmobile and more interesting side missions, however, the open world of Arkham Knight is far more engaging, and they've crafted a story that's more exciting than City's was. By now you're probably well aware of the issues some people are having with Arkham Knight's Batmobile. You're maybe one of them. People are saying there's too much of it. It's not fun to use, the Batmobile missions are all the same, they're boring, blah 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 blah, and so on. My thoughts, however, are the Batmobile is fun, and it stops the game from being just another open-world Batman game, and it rounds out the whole being the Batman thing. Yes, tank sections do get tedious, blowing up 1,000 tank drones as I protect a bomb isn't the most exciting thing I've done this year, but I prefer this to what would have been the alternative, and that's another Arkham game where you run around as Batman and beat dudes up. By the end of this game, I was irritated more by the melee combat sections than I was of the Batmobile sections. In that first Arkham game, the combat was new and interesting, but now it's just tedious, and by the end of this game I dreaded any time where I had a big group of dudes to fight, because I hate having to remember all the different combos, that you need to take down all the different thugs, and when there's a large group of guys with different ways to take down each one, as well as different ways to dodge each attack, it gets frustrating. It's cool that you can take down 20 guys at once, but shouldn't it be fun? The story is easily the highlight of the game, and while there'll be no spoilers here, I will say that it is top-notch. I love the direction the story goes, and while there are some predictable moments, sometimes predictability can be a good thing, especially if it's in service of a well-told arc for the main character. Batman is definitely the most badass he's ever been here. There are true laugh-out-loud moments of don't give a fuckery from Bats that you don't get from any other character in gaming except for maybe Kratos, but the difference with Batman is that he's not supposed to kill. I swear I broke at least 400 necks and close to 5,000 spines. You maybe want to check that they're alive, or...
You'll get a very close look indeed.
Fair enough. The Batmobile adds to this questionable behaviour as well, especially after you've knocked out a bunch of dudes and driven over their lifeless bodies a few hundred times. Yeah, nah, they're alive. Let's just keep going. The side missions here are more interesting than what I remember of the side missions in City. Of course, the Riddler's back to test you, and now that you've got a Batmobile, he wants to maybe see how it handles a death trap or two. I was never really a fan of the Riddler stuff in the other games, but I found myself actually wanting to do the puzzles here. Up until a certain point anyway. That certain point relates to story, so I won't say what it is, but suffice to say, I didn't really see a point in finishing the Riddler stuff. There's a bunch of side missions with Penguin and Two-Face that was the same thing over and over for 5 or 6 times each. After the first one, they weren't very interesting, but I felt compelled to keep going just in case they added to the overall arc of the story. They didn't, but they could have. The other side missions also got monotonous after the first one, but they're at least intriguing and they all have an arc to them, even if it's a self-contained arc that doesn't contribute to the bigger picture. The gadgets and upgrades are what you would expect from an Arkham game. There are new multi-takedown moves, however, that make thinning large groups of baddies easier, and the Batmobile has the ability to be upgraded over the course of the game as well. Grappling while gliding gets a speedy upgrade, which makes it easier to get to places faster, which is still the recommended way of getting around, as the Batmobile, while fast, still has to stick to the roads. Graphically, the game is beautiful. It's easily one of the best looking games of the current generation. Being an open world game on top of that must have taken some kind of sorcery. I didn't think open worlds could get any prettier after Second Son and GTA 5, but here we are. It does help that the entire game takes place at night, through rain I might add, so the neon signs reflecting in the puddles on the ground is really damn nice to look at. I played through the PS4 version of the game and noticed a few frame rate hitches here and there, mostly during the Batmobile sequences, but for the most part it sticks to a solid 30 frames a second. Every now and then I also noticed some screen tearing, but that was also quite rare. From all reports, it looks like the Xbox One version runs just as well, just at a slightly lower resolution. But any resolution's a good resolution on a console compared to the fuck up that is the PC version, apparently. I haven't been able to test the PC version myself, but it sounds like if you want the PC version, you might want to hold off, because apparently it's running really bad, even on the best hardware out there. So maybe just don't get it yet. Unless you're into that sort of shit, and then friggin' go for it. What do I care? Overall, Batman Arkham Knight is highly recommended. The story is the best in the series, and the gameplay has renewed appeal thanks to the Bat Tank. If you have a PS4 or Xbox One, then you can't go wrong. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and thumb up, and happy murdering. Knocking out. That's what I meant to say.
Look, I know you're busy, but anything you can do to help is going to save lives.
Don't worry, Jim. I have someone working a lead on Scarecrow. I'll see what I can do.
Good to hear. I've got a skeleton crew searching Gotham South and West. I'm gonna join him when I'm done here. We're gonna find that son of a bitch. Fernandez, it's Gordon. Give me an update.
I'm going after Riddler.